Okay, so I'll let you off.
Hi, my name's John, and I'm one of the web guys. I'd like to tell you about our amazing product that I'm certain you'll love. There are lots of companies out there who offer website and business tools, from the very cheap do-it-yourself to the very expensive bespoke products. What we offer at the Web Guys is a unique package that we're sure will cater to all your business's needs. We'll deliver a world-class website that's created specifically for you and your business and with everything you need to manage it. It's so simple. All you have to do is choose a look and we'll do everything else. We'll design, build, set up and customize your website for you. You'll get that agency quality product from £29.99 a month and with no upfront fees to pay. To take advantage of our fantastic product, go to www.thewebguys.co.uk and simply click the Sign Up Now button and follow the instructions, which will only take a few minutes of your valuable time. Once you're done, you'll get all this plus lots more, and from only £29.99 per month. So, what are you waiting for?
Morning, everyone. Can you believe it? Once again, it's Wednesday. It's 10 o'clock, and it's time for another In Conversation With. This morning, I have the pleasure of being joined by Gary Brown from Let's Do Business. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Brian. How are you doing?
My stream here, and thank you very much for joining me. You're a very busy guy, so please let's dive into it and tell the world who you are and the wonderful services that you offer.
Thank you so much, Brian. So my name's Gary Brown. My company is called Let's Do Business, and we specialize in helping businesses to get clients without spending any money on marketing or advertising.
That's great. So that's a good pitch, but let's get down into a little bit more nitty-gritty. What does that actually mean? Because like lots of people, I do lots of networking, and there's a lot of people talking about sales, but very few people do the sales bit. So be a bit more specific, if you don't mind, about what it is that you actually do.
Sure. Well, I'd say that the first point is everyone should know their ideal client. And so I would say my ideal customer would be split into one of two types of companies. One is a business that isn't working, and unfortunately, they exist, and I think their primary worry is they're going to have to close down and get a job. Whereas the other type of company I work with is completely different. They're successful, they're doing well, but they've hit a glass ceiling and they want to grow. So the reason I differentiate between these two types is because that will affect the kind of service that they need. So for the first type, I would say they probably need not just some sales strategy, which is consulting and coaching, which is what I do, but they probably need hand-holding. The business has often got to that point because even though they've tried their best and they've done lots of research, they haven't implemented what they know. And so my sales coaching, I have a more expensive program of 6 months where I work with people individually, and I charge about £10,000 for that. But I had lots of businesses come up to me and say, I want to work with you, but I can't afford that. So in January and July each year, I have a mastermind group that I'm now launching where it's only £250 a person and there's only 20 spaces for each person, and it's $250 a month per person for 6 months. And that, I would say, is like hiring a sales director, where month one we do strategy, but the other months we implement it, and I'm there to guide you, help you, hold you accountable. And as things change, you have to be willing to adapt. So that's one side. You've got the bigger companies that are successful. I don't mean big in terms of staff. They don't necessarily have 50 staff, but they're big in terms of revenue, that they're doing well, they're happy, but they really want to grow. So in that case, we do outsource sales, where people can hire myself, some of my staff, to do sales on their behalf. And so for those companies, it's more a question of for between £1,500, £2,000 a month, you can hire us to actually do sales for you, which will help you break through the glass ceiling and get to the next level. So those would be the main services we offer. Obviously, we do team training for existing sales teams, But I would say that's similar to the coaching we're doing. It's just on a team level instead of an individual level. So those would be the basis of the services we offer and who they're for.
Before we get to the mastermind thing that you mentioned there, I just want to go a little bit deeper into the actual selling services that you offer, because I think I've not come across an awful lot of people who actually offers that service. There's a lot of people out there who are quite keen to show you how to be better at selling, but actually there's not many people who are willing to put their head on the block and actually do the selling for you. So I find that quite interesting, and it's also very challenging. I come into a cold company that you know nothing about and be their sales agent for them.
Yes, well, actually, it's interesting because the service evolved out of another service. My company's been going for 8 years. I'm 38 years old. I've been in sales for 20 years. During my A-levels, I was doing cold calling, soffits, fascias, guttering to people, being abused, being called names. It's the best training in the world. I actually loved it, because if you can survive that, then the B2B world is so polite, it's fine.
Yeah.
And so when I first started my company 8 years ago, I actually did mainly consulting because I wanted to work with lots of businesses. I'd done hard sales for a long time, for 12 years. I was like, I just want to consult.
Yeah.
And what I found was, despite people spending hard money on the advice, they weren't doing it.
No.
And I would say, why aren't you doing it? Oh, I don't like it. It's not my kind of thing. But they all said, I really enjoy what you're saying and the strategies that make sense. It's just not me. And because I had deliberately planned, and I do this even now with my coaching, 1 hour a day of sales work. That's what I would say to people, because if you're a business owner, you've got to work in your business 7 hours a day, but you've also got to work on your business. And 1 hour a day, I feel, is very achievable. Yeah. And so I turned around to some of these people and I said, well, what if I did it for you? It's my strategy. What if I do it? So they were like, yeah, that's a brilliant idea. So that's how this outsource selling option started, because it was 1 hour a day, which allowed me to work with multiple clients in England, in America, in Israel, everywhere. And the next level is now we're doing it with people under me, because my time is limited, and now people are able to have me as a manager with my strategy, and then I'm providing staff, etc. And so you're right, there are too many people who are not willing to get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
And I would say that if you're the kind of business where if somebody tells you to do something, you'll do it, then don't outsource your sales. Get an expert in, right? Not me, anyone. Get an expert to give you the strategies that you need to do, create the scripts, work out where to find the data so that you have a constant supply. And then you do it all yourself, just 1 hour a day. But if you're the kind of person that doesn't enjoy cold approaching and doesn't like being on the phone and doesn't want to do all of that, then you really should look to hire somebody to do it for you. Because I don't think a business should rely just on word of mouth. I think you need to be much more proactive, and you need to be cold. The term I use is cold approaching, because cold calling to me is randomly phoning businesses.
Yeah.
Cold approach is you've done the research, you have a profile, you know this company in this industry is the right fit for you. So there's still a cold approach. There's still a point where you have to pick up the phone, send an email. But I don't believe in cold calling, randomly buying a list of 1,000 companies and hoping that a third of them are relevant. Don't do that. Take the time to identify your industry of who you should be targeting, and then go after them.
I think it's very interesting because, again, to everyone who watches this either now or later on, everyone knows me, knows that I'm a very open and transparent guy. I'll say to you all now, I've hired Gary's services, and he does do selling for us at the Web Guys, and not so much because I don't want to pick up a phone and call, but simply because of time restraints. We needed someone to come in and help me to carry that burden with me. So I've been working with him for how long we've been working together now? Okay, for about 10 months.
We worked together for 10 months, and one thing I really enjoy, apart from the fact that what you offer is so great, so it's an easier sell than some other things I'm involved in, is I appreciate that you appreciated that I came with multiple approaches. I didn't just say we're just going to randomly call people. I came up with ideas of commercial partners and email campaigns and networking. I love networking, but I know too many companies that only network, and there are so many other things you can do to grow your business.
Absolutely. So, and I think that everything that you've said, I completely agree with all of it. And I think another side to it is that we can't forget, and that needs to be remembered, is that getting someone in like yourself who sits on the outside brings a completely fresh and flip it on the head view on a lot of things. That because what I found, especially with myself, is that I tend to get stuck in a way of thinking. So by having an outside influence coming in and shaking the trees a little bit is actually really quite healthy and very helpful.
Well, it's very interesting you say that, because I have a friend who also runs a sales company, and we will be each other's accountability and outside person. So we'll very often say to each other, I'm thinking of doing this, or it's what I'm currently doing. What are your thoughts? And like you said, having an outside voice is really useful for another perspective. And even I, as someone who would say, a sales expert, I still need sales advice from somebody else just to make sure you don't get stuck in one way of thinking.
Of course. Just before we carry on, I just want to mention to everyone, who watches this, please smash that like button, whether you're watching it on YouTube or on Facebook or LinkedIn. Please like it, share it around if you like what we're discussing. If someone comes in and they have any questions to Gary, you can put a comment in, be able to see it, and Gary will do his very best to try and answer the questions if it comes in. You can also see in the little ticker below here that Gary's website is there, and there's also a link to his LinkedIn profile. So please all do go and connect with Gary on LinkedIn if you're not already, and have a look at this. There is a new website coming, by the way, so it's his old website. We're doing a new one for you at the moment. So let's talk more about this master group that you're setting up. I'm quite intrigued to hear about it. So tell the world, please.
So I may be biased, but I would argue every company, or most companies, need a sales director, because most business owners are experts at what they do. It's the first thing it says on my website. If you're a photographer, I always use the example of photographer. If you're a photographer, right, even if you're an accountant, that's your expertise. But the second that you set up a company, you are expected to do sales, accounting, marketing, admin, all these other functions that's not what you want to spend your time doing. You want to spend your time doing what you're great at. Brian, you love websites. You love building websites. That's what you want to spend your time doing. And so just like I hire an accountant to deal with my books, I don't do my own books. I know a lot of small businesses that do, to say, but I said, I'm not going to mess with that. You can go to jail if you do it wrong. So I pay somebody and I send my receipts and they do it, because that's their expertise. I don't want to have to deal with it. So I would say, when it comes to sales, a lot of people think if I have word of mouth and if I go networking, I'll be okay. But we see in reality that's not the case for a lot of companies. And so I think having a sales director is very important, the outside voice who can come with strategies and expertise and say, this is 6 ways you can get clients. Let's do all of them. Just spend an hour a day.
Yeah.
So to hire a sales director in London would cost you £100,000 a year minimum. And so for a private client to say, look, 10 grand, you'll have me for 6 months, that's very reasonable. But I wanted to help more businesses. I kept meeting companies going, we love what you're saying. I post content on LinkedIn very often, free sales tips. People, I like what you're saying. It makes sense. How can I work with you? I can't afford it. So I thought to myself, I teach my clients, you've got to listen to the market. So I thought to myself, how can I make a low entry point for those companies and need this help but don't have 10 grand? So I said to myself, if I can get 20 people together and they all pay only £250 a month each, it's a low enough entry level for them. And I'm open like you are. For me, if 20 people are paying £250 a month, I'm happy with that level of pay to help those people. And then month 1, we meet every week as a group to go over sales strategies, principles, and that they have to then implement on their own. But then outside of those meetings, I'm available for half an hour slots of consultation anytime, all included in the price.
Sure.
By the end of month one, you will have 4 to 5 or 6 different strategies to get clients. And then months 2 to 6 is about implementation, further private consulting with me, because you still need the weekly meeting. Have you done what we said? What happened? What did the market say? I can only ever advise strategies based on the information the person tells me about their market. The idea is we're taking your expertise of your market and my expertise of sales and merging them.
Sure.
So if things are not true, we have to tweak them. And so that's what months 2 to 6 are about, the hand-holding, having a sales director, holding you accountable, saying, this is what we've done, what are we going to do? And I would say that we still meet as a group once a month, at the beginning of every month, to share ideas, go over new ideas, and to see how everyone's doing. So that's what the Mastermind group is, to take 20 companies as if I was working with them individually one-on-one, but to do it together.
You think, honest question, do you think 6 months is enough to actually have a meaningful effect? Is that a longer time frame?
So it's interesting you say that. Originally, it was going to be a 1-year program. However, I have found with most of the clients I've worked with in the past 8 years that by the end of month 6, the strategies get to the point where you're just repeating what you've been doing.
Right.
So you need those initial first, I'd say, 3 months to build the strategies, to build content, to get your database, to have your scripts, to start getting into the rhythm of phoning and emailing people. But I would say months 4, 5, and 6, when I tell people to expect results, because we've got those results in a logical, consistent manner, you should just keep going. And
Sure.
so by the end of 6 months, I think a person should be independent enough to be able, I'm sure if somebody said, can I retain you as an advisor, I'm sure I could come up with a small price similar to what the Mastermind group costs to say, if you want to keep me on for another $250 a month, I'm happy to do that. But my goal is to create independent, successful business owners who can do sales by themselves. That's my goal.
I honestly think that sounds like a great idea and a great plan. So I really do hope that lots of people take it up on your offer, because as what we've discovered working with you, as you say, it's about this initial setting up, and then you sort of rinse and repeat, don't you? You learn as you go along, of course, but once you get the basic foundation set up, then you got a structure to work from, don't you?
Exactly. And, I don't claim to reinvent the wheel, but I just think that there's so much noise out there that just to work with somebody to go, what's relevant for me? For example, I've got one client who, for them, we're not actually selling directly to the people we want to sell, because one of my clients is an insolvency practice. Now, I can't go around phoning businesses going, hi, is your business going down the toilet? No one wants to have a phone call.
Oh, no.
So what I discovered was very interesting. This was 3 years ago. I said to them, but then how do you get clients? And they said, legally, accountants can't handle certain insolvency cases. They have to pass them on.
Right.
So I said, what if I get you meetings with the accountants to then refer those cases, and then I'll keep in touch with them every 3 months to keep the relationship. And here we are 3 years later, loads of business, fantastic. With you, it's very different. With you, I can call people directly and email them directly and say, would you like to have a lead generating website? And I would stress to people watching this, with the web guys, it's not just about having a new website for only £30 a month. I look at it differently because I'm in sales. It's about having a lead generating website. So if somebody said to me, would you like to have more leads for just £30 a month? I would say, yeah, show me where to sign.
Yeah.
So it's about finding the appropriate strategy and approach for each individual case.
Yeah.
And so that's where having a sales director comes in. And that's why the Mastermind group's so great, because I'll be teaching everyone the same principles, but the application will be different in every case, which is where the one-to-one consulting comes about outside of those group sessions.
Sure. So that leads me to a big question. How does people sign up for this mastermind group?
So at the moment, the way to sign up for the mastermind group is to either send me an email, which my email is on my LinkedIn profile, but it's gbrown@ld-business.com, or to connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message. As you know, we're building the new website. And so once the new website's built, there will be a dedicated sign-up page about the mastermind group as well. But for now, most of the people I connect with initially either email me directly or connect with me on LinkedIn. I've got I've got nearly 4,000 connections on LinkedIn, and I've never paid for LinkedIn in my life.
No.
So, that's a great way to be in touch with me.
Absolutely. And I think those connections are going to be more and more valuable. I was talking to someone just the other day saying that you can now actually only, I think you can request connection with a maximum of 100 people now a day or a week or something. They've massively reduced the amount of connections you're able to make on LinkedIn now. So I think that's going to be very valuable. Well, that's great, Gary. I think, for everyone who's out there who needs some structure in their sales, I can't stress enough how effective Gary is. I can only, after having worked with Gary now for 10 months, and he is part of the Web Guys now. So there's probably a lot of you who watches this who's had a call from Gary. So
That's true.
Yeah. So
I would
sign up for this because it's good stuff. It's strong stuff, and it's really pushing the business forward. So I can't recommend it enough.
And if I could just, one last thing I'd say, and people that have heard me interviewed before or seen me speak before will get sick of hearing this, but it is such a fundamental thing that I say it every time I'm interviewed. If I could give one free sales tip to the audience, your pitches need to be benefit-based, not feature-focused. I see so many people, when they're asked what they do, give a technical description of what they do. And I teach people that, nobody cares what you do. What people care about is what can you do for them or the people they know. And when you talk about the solution you provide to the problem that you fix, I have found people respond much better than when you just give a technical answer to a question. And that would be the free tip I would give to people, is to work on your pitches and write one that is benefit-based. I don't say I'm Gary Brown, I run a sales company. I say I'm Gary Brown, and we help businesses get clients without spending money on marketing or advertising, because I know that's the pain point of the clients I'm dealing with. You say to people that we build world-class websites for the cost of a mobile phone, because people want to have a website, but they can't necessarily afford £2,000-3,000. Because I'm in sales, my take on what we do at the Web Guys is slightly different. I'd say you can generate fresh leads for £30 a month, because to me, the lead generation is the most important aspect of what the Web Guide does. So if everyone can find the benefit of what they're providing, I think you'll get higher responses in your sales.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point, Gary. Thank you for that. Now, Gary, thank you very much for joining me today. And it's been
pleasure.
Again, everyone out there, please go and connect with Gary on LinkedIn. Have a look at his website. Sign up to this masterclass. It's going to probably change your business, and so I can't recommend that enough. For everyone else, thank you very much for watching today. And again, please like and share it. And next week, it's Bank Holiday weekend in the UK this weekend, so we're having a Wednesday off next Wednesday. But the following week, I am joined by the lovely Lisa Weston, who's going to be talking to us about stress, how bad stress is for you, how we can help reduce stress levels as business owners and that kind of stuff. So that's going to be an interesting conversation as well. So everyone out there, take care, have a nice week, and we shall see you again live very soon.